Who do you think won that trade?
Oh man, so I know that it's Russell Wilson, and you're
Hmm.
getting Russell Wilson a fourth round pick, but mm, I think it kind of depends how Seattle fixes their quarterback situation because I would be very surprised to see them go with Drew Lock
Hmm.
at this point. With everything that we
Oh,
know
you
about
don't
Drew
like
Lock
Geno
over the last few
Smith?
years.
Come on, man. Geno, the Bambino, if you know what I mean. He
Yeah,
doesn't
so
get.
Gino's kind of like a one or two games if you have to play him because of an injury. That's who you're okay with him, but no,
Hmm.
no, not as a long time starters. But Drew Lock, we're not really sure of either. I think Jim Nagy, the Senior Bowl director, was talking him up a little bit, kind of saying the change of scenery would be really good. Denver
Hmm.
wasn't ideal for him. Um, Hopefully that's the case, but I don't think that's who they're going to stick with. And there's still a lot of movement to come in this quarterback market.
I think they're rebuilding, and I think they're going to trade away pieces. I don't think they're going to expect a quarterback to become available from them when it comes to veterans this
Mm-hmm.
offseason. I also don't believe that they're going to draft a quarterback in this year's class. I think they're going to wait until next year where they have 2 first-round draft picks, and if they like a particular quarterback, a.k.a. the Alabama quarterback, or who's the other kid that
CJ Stroud, another one.
yeah, the
Yeah,
other
of
kid.
Ohio State.
Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
they could decide, you know what, if they're drafting at, let's say, they're drafting at 7 and they're drafting at 5 and 12, and they want that quarterback, they can trade those two picks and move up to the number 1 pick and get the quarterback that they really, really want. So I don't think this necessarily is going to be a winning season for them. I think it's going to be a really bad season for Seattle. This is Pete Carroll's last year. I expect Pete Carroll to retire after this year, and then they bring in a new quarterback, a new GM, and a new coach, and change the organization around. That's what I believe.
I think that's a very fair point, honestly. It's not one that I considered I mean, I know that they cut Bobby Wagner, and that was really to free up 16 million, which kind of sounds like they were looking to make a splash in free agency. So
Mm-hmm.
I am not sure if it's a rebuild coming up or not yet.
Wow.
Mm.
Um, when with the quarterback market the way it is, I can't help but wonder if they're going to try to make a run at somebody like, let's say, Jimmy Garoppolo, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a division rival. They're trying to move him. And so you're probably going to have to pay a little bit of a higher price to get him.
Mm.
But if you look at Pete Carroll quarterbacks over the last, going back to his USC days,
Mm-hmm.
he inherited Carson Palmer, but he had a lot of middling arm ball distributors, basically.
Please don't talk about Matt Leinart because he was a horrible NFL player. He really was, especially when Arizona drafted him. He was
So you had Matt Leinart, Matt Barkley. That he had that style
Mm-hmm.
of quarterback, and that's what he ran. And
Mm-hmm.
if you remember, when he came to Seattle, it was year 2. The plan was to run with Matt Flynn,
Mm.
and they paid Matt Flynn starter type money.
Oh, I remember that.
And
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson just was this 3rd-round pick that was a developmental guy that that ended up becoming the guy
Mm-hmm.
and was the much better player.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you look at what Pete Carroll kind of wants in his quarterback, somebody like Jimmy Garoppolo would make a lot of sense.
They also had Tavares Jackson on that team too, who started a couple of years with the Vikings too. So.
It's crazy. It's crazy when you think about that team.
Yeah, before I get to my question, I'm just going to read some of Jeff's comments. Evan Neal, he thinks is going number 1.
Probably.
If you think Kyle Hamilton's a generational talent, don't you worry, the Jets will ruin him. Sauce is the boss, and Sauce didn't allow a touchdown in his entire
He hates
college
the
career.
Jets. He's a Patriot fan, so don't listen to him.
So my question is referring to the whole landscape of the quarterbacks. As a result, you're kind of seeing these quarterbacks have a lot of power now within their organizations and demanding out or demanding certain things like Kyler Murray was doing with that letter that he wrote. And now it seems like that resolved a little. But do you think the NFL is eventually going to transform themselves kind of, not necessarily to the level of the NBA with all the player power, but something not far behind with a lot of these top players?
I think it really, you look at the quarterback position and how that has impacted teams going to the Super Bowl. There's not a lot of quarterbacks that you can point to that have been able to get their team to the Super Bowl without being, a top 10, top 15 guy. And then to win it, you have to have that. And so I think that there is some power, some leverage that they have in terms of getting their contracts and getting what they want and different things from the franchise. Are they going to hit an NBA level? I hope not. It would be very difficult to maneuver through off seasons with. But I mean, if it comes to that, then sure. Like, that's the most important guy on the offense. That's who you need this guy to win a Super Bowl.
Last question for me. As everybody knows, we are talking to Football Sapient owner and NFL draft analyst John Douglas Vogel. With all the trades and all the different trades that could happen in the next couple of days or next couple of weeks, with the Chargers landing a guy like Khalil Mack, do you think that the Chargers right now, going into this offseason and going into the new season, do you think they're the team, they're the most talented team and the team to beat now, adding a guy like Khalil Mack to that defense?
Well, the team that you have to beat is, the Kansas City Chiefs.
I think they're going to be a lot worse next year. Remember, they spent a lot of money. They gave, obviously, their quarterback a ton of money the year before that, and they're going to lose some big pieces. They're going to possibly lose the Honey Badger. He might be going in free agency. I don't know if they're going to be able to re-sign him. They did franchise Brown, but if Brown doesn't get that extension, he'll be gone next year too. So this team could be really, we talk about how good they are. They could, I wouldn't say rebuilding, but they're going to have to try to fill in those spots where they don't have the money to fill in those spots that they've had for all these years because they had an affordable quarterback.
Yeah, and that's a fair point too, but that's the thing is the quarterback on this team, and he still has his weapons. He still has Tyreek Hill running down the field.
Who had a bad season. He had a bad season this year.
He did have a bad season. And a lot of that was, the usage at the beginning of the year, where they were just very lazy with their schemes and almost kind of expecting Mahomes to lead them to victory. But he still has his weapons. Travis Kelce, you still got a pretty good running back group too. Your offensive line is entrenched. That's going to get better next year, because you had 2 rookies starting. So I think the Chiefs are still the team to beat. As long as Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are there together, that's going to be very difficult. I do think that the Chargers have an excellent chance at pushing that envelope. You also have to deal with the Denver Broncos. The Broncos.
And the Las Vegas
Russell
Raiders,
Wilson.
too.
Yeah, and the Raiders are kind of looking at dealing, Derek Carr right now, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, then I don't know what their plan is. But unless they're just trying to tank and get that number 1 pick next year, get somebody like Bryce Young.
Mm.
But I would say that the Broncos were a quarterback away from being a very, very dangerous team. And they have that quarterback now. And they are loaded on both sides of the ball. And that's concerning too. So that division in general is just
best division in football.
Insane.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even close. I think we ran a guest article with @Scotty the King. So Hall of Fame football writer Scott Engel is his name. So we ran an article with him, and when he initially ran it, he had the NFC West listed as the best division in football. And as soon as the Russell Wilson trade came through, I got these, hey, can you edit this real quick and revise this? And it was removing that line, from the article. But that's the thing. It's not even close. Adding Khalil Mack just has made this division insane.
All right, last question, not NFL related. Your college, you see you got a Tennessee shirt on there. So for their football team, Josh Heupel now hired as the head coach recently. Yeah. What do you think about that? And also their basketball team. I actually really like them this year. They've beaten a lot of top 5 teams. How far do you think they could go in the tournament?
So the basketball team, I have a bet running with one of my Army buddies. He's an Auburn fan, and it's on the SEC tournament, and it's that we will beat them if we play them in the SEC tournament. I think that this is one of the better basketball teams I've watched them play, which has been awesome to see. And they've been building. Rick Barnes has done a great job down there. In terms of the football team, I'm very excited, very optimistic. And that offense last year was absolutely insane. Trying to keep up with, it's not very often that you hear an offensive line coach telling the head coach, 9-10 plays, hey, my guys are gassed. We need to end this drive now. Whether it's a touchdown or a kick, I don't care. That was kind of their mentality, whereas we're going to run so fast, and they were snapping plays in 20 seconds or less on most every snap. It was fun. And then you had the defense with the most tackles for loss in college football. That was great too. So the sky is the limit with Tennessee next year. I know it's going to be a tougher division because Georgia's the defending national champ. South Carolina has a bunch of pieces, including Spencer Rattler that they just got, so they're going to be tough.
God,
Kentucky's
please.
tough.
Oh, don't bring up Spencer Rattler to him.
One of the most overrated quarterbacks in college football, and everybody thinks that him going to Georgia is going to make a difference. Give me a break. Horrible. He went to Georgia. He's not even going to be starting for Georgia next year.
No, Rattler went to South Carolina.
Sorry, South Carolina, but
he'll be starting in South Carolina.
Yes, he'll be starting, but that's not going to make a difference. He goes to South Carolina. How good is South Carolina going to be? Are they going to be a Final Four team? I don't think so.
They'll be very surprised. You'd be very surprised at how good South Carolina is going to be this year.
Not with him. Not with him. I after watching QB1 and watching how cocky that kid is and what he thinks he is as a player, to me, I understand you have to be cocky. You have to have an ego as a professional athlete or going to be a professional. I had an ego. I was a very good hockey player. I was a top-end hockey player in the country when I was 17 years old. I had an ego, but I never had an ego like this kid. His mother has an ego. His father has an ego. His sister has an ego. His damn girlfriend has an ego, okay? I mean, he's just... I don't know what he thinks he is. And by the way, he wasn't even the best quarterback on his high school team. So that was my opinion. So to me, I just think just too cocky of a player. I'm actually happy he fell apart this year because he was going to be in this year's draft. So there you go. I thank you for actually joining us. I know you're pretty damn busy, and I did. Congratulations, by the way, hitting 300,000 in 9 months. It's an unbelievable feat. It really is. Tell the fans how they can find you on social media, how they can read your stuff.
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter at DraftVogel and NFLSapient.com, FootballSapient.com. Either one will get you there. That's where we put up all our stuff. I just published my mock draft yesterday, my first one of the year. Kind of went into a lot of the stuff that we talked about too, so that was great. But yeah, pretty much just Twitter. I don't really do Instagram or anything else like that. So.
All right. Well, I don't do Instagram either. I have an Instagram. Somebody got on my Instagram, and everybody has it. Everybody keeps telling me you have to have social medias for everybody. I don't need it. I have Twitter. I've been concentrating on Twitter now more than I ever have. I broke over 3,000. I think I have 3,300 followers on Twitter, and they're all great sports fans. I got to start posting more things, so they're actually happy. I have some people writing to me. I'm like, why am I following you if you're not posting anything? So. But they like the show. They love my personality. I don't know why, but they love the show, and they think we're absolutely hilarious. And we drop a lot of knowledge for them. And definitely, we really appreciate you joining us. And definitely stay tuned. Keep listening to us, and we'll be following you. And we'd love to get you on after the draft and talk about what you thought about the draft after it's all over.
Yeah, of course. That sounds great.